Good night, y'all. It's Charlie Sharice. Late video tonight. I just got off of work. But I wanted to come to y'all real quick with just with a quick message about knowing yourself and accepting yourself for who you are. Now, but this one is more so on the note of accepting yourself amongst people who don't accept you or refuse to accept you. But you have to really know who you are, or at least be on the path to seriously understanding who you are and accepting everything about yourself. I say that because you're gonna because on your path to loving yourself and caring for yourself, you are going to run into people who are committed to misunderstanding you. They are committed to trying to force you back into a place of self-doubt, self-hatred, and instead of self-love. And it's only because they don't know themselves, they don't love themselves, and they don't care for themselves. So anybody who is actually on that journey and is the opposite of that, they're gonna try to shake up, shake some things up and try to, be difficult. And so you're gonna run into people who, and this will be people who do it on purpose, and sometimes people who do it without not even realizing, you know what I'm saying, that they are doing it because they don't care about themselves and they don't love themselves, they don't know themselves. And self-hate is really just not accepting yourself, like not accepting everything about yourself, including your flaws, and not accepting that you're not perfect. That's what self-hate really boils down to. But I say that because we have to be ready for these situations and for these people that are going to try to like force us, like forcibly back into that place of anxiety and that place of confusion and not knowing yourself and not being yourself, because one of the major signs of loving yourself is being yourself and not being afraid to be yourself, no matter what that means. And for one person, being yourself may mean dressing in the way they decide to dress. Like their style of dress could be colorful, it could be different patterns put together. Being yourself for another person could be being loud and being rambunctious. I'm one of those kind of loud, rambunctious people. When I'm really in a good space and when I'm really happy and when I really just found my zone, I get like rambunctious. I get happy. I be like, I joke around, I'm goofy, I play, you know what I'm saying? That's when you can tell I'm really at my most comfortable. And in my own Charlie zone is when I get like, goofy and I'm laughing and I'm doing a lot. You know, that's when I know like that I'm being myself and that I am like fully in my zone, right? And for a lot of years, who I am and like me being myself always seemed to be an issue for people around me, whether that was friends, whether that was family, whether that was coworkers or whatever. But I realized that me being in that space is the most precious and enjoyable place for me, right? And so being able to just sing out loud, and even though I might not be quite hitting the note, singing out loud and not really caring, singing out loud and not knowing all the words or all the lyrics, or singing the wrong lyrics at the wrong part of the song or whatever, and being able to laugh and like, whatever, I don't care. Like, what I'm saying? Just being my imperfect self out loud, living out loud, and so whatever being yourself means, you have to lean into that. Okay. So on your path to loving yourself and being yourself, you're going to encounter people and encounter situations that's going to try to force you out of that zone and force you back into that depression, back into that confusion of, I don't know who I am, and am I worth it? Am I worth living out loud? Am I worth, showing myself to the world, and not really allowing people's negative response to who I am bother me or cause me to retreat, you know? Because self-love is being yourself unapologetically. And it took me a really long time to accept that, because for instance, and even when it comes to like your profession, and even when it comes to like your area of expertise, right? Kind of like trying to turn that down around people who are insecure and stuff like that. All that's not good. Um, if you feel like you have to lessen yourself or turn down who you are, or your amount of knowledge or expertise or whatever, you got to turn it down or dull yourself down in order to make other people around you comfortable, you're not around the right people. And it's not okay to do that. I repeat, you are not supposed to dull your light or dim yourself down or pretend to be something that you're not, or go along with something that you don't believe in order to make people around you comfortable. You literally are supposed to do the opposite. And when that opposition presents itself, when you're fully being yourself and you're fully living what you believe about yourself, and you're projecting out into the world who you are, and you're leaning into it, and you get opposition, those people don't belong in your life. And you being yourself and pushing those people out of your life is just a sign. And people who receive and accept you for that are going to be the people that belong around you. That it's not an issue, it's not a problem that you dress a little weird. There's some people I know who will put plaid with stripes and they make it look good. But it's some people who can't stand to be around somebody who wear plaid and stripes together. They just like, no, that just look, just no. How you just gonna put that together? How you just gonna put black and yellow plaid with pink and blue stripes? That's their prerogative. They can wear plaid and stripes if they want to, if that's who they are, and they're not pretending to be anyone else. Now, if they put plaid and plaid, because plaid go together, so if they put that plaid shirt on and they put those plaid pants on to match, because it makes other people feel more comfortable, but it doesn't make them feel happy inside, then it's the wrong thing to do. And that's the worst outfit you could ever put on, if you're putting it on to make somebody else feel comfortable. And that's just, think of it like an outfit, and as women especially, we know what we know. We know how a certain outfit will make us feel. Certain outfits make us feel confident. Certain outfits make us feel sexy. Certain outfits make us feel, smart and like a businesswoman. Like, you put on that suit or you put on that blazer and you feel, like, yes, I'm about my business today. Okay. Going this meeting, going this interview, about to get this job, whatever you're wearing. So the same thing with who you are. Put it on. The Bible says that a man doesn't light a candle and put it under a bushel. Neither is a city on a hill hidden. Like a city full of lights. Imagine the city of New York City, right? How bright New York City is. They say it's the city that never sleeps. It's always lights everywhere, to the point that there's light pollution. To the point there's certain parts of the city where you can't even see the stars naturally because of all of the artificial lighting and everything like that. Imagine New York City sitting on a high hill or on a high mountain. How can you not see New York City? Like, if you're in a plane and you're high up, you can see those lights from far away. Okay, you don't light a candle and put it under the bush. No, you don't put it under the bush. You know what you do? You put it on a candlestick so that it'll give light to everybody in the house. Okay, and I don't even remember where that. I think that scripture is in Matthew. Uh no, I don't know where that scripture is. I'm gonna have to Google it real quick. But yeah. So basically, that's what I mean. You're giving light. Let me Google the scripture real quick so I can actually read it verbatim. Here we go. Matthew. Oh, it is in Matthew. Matthew 5:15. So, okay, and it says, this is the New International Version. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. Okay, so that's basically what I'm saying. When you are yourself and when you are yourself, you are completely lit, you completely in your zone. Imagine yourself as a candle. When a candle is lit, you don't hide the candle. Number one, you can't hide the candle. Once the candle is lit, even if you do try to like put it in a corner or put it like in like a shadowy place or a dark place, it's gonna light up that darkness. So when you are fully being yourself, you cannot hide it. It's nothing you can do to hide it. So you're gonna put it where it belongs, which is on a stand. And when you put that candle on a candle stand, it's going to light up the entire house and give light to everybody that's in the house. So when you light your candle and then people have an issue with the light, they're going to leave. That's the darkness. That's the depression. That's the confusion. That's the low self-worth and the low the non self-care that's going to leave away from you once you start being who you are. Okay? And so light your candle and put yourself in the place where you're supposed to be. Don't try to hide under a bush. Don't try to dull yourself down and hide your talents and hide your beauty and hide your gifts because it's going to make other people feel comfortable. It's going to let the darkness stay. You don't want the darkness to stay. Okay? Be who you are. Stand your ground on your candlestick and give light to those people who need your light. And the people who don't want or need or desire your light, they will leave. Okay? You're going to find situations where people will literally, like I said, some people will do it on purpose because they're like bullies and they hate themselves. Or some people will do it and not even realize that they're doing it, not even realize that they are projecting out their own jealousy and their own insecurities and their own low self-worth and non self-love or care. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, little small things, little statements, little silly remarks and comments and sneery little things like that. You know what I'm saying? But when you're the light, you're just going to give light to people who want it. And if the people don't want the light, they are going to leave naturally on their own. Either that or they're going to begin to desire the light. But you know how the saying goes, the saying goes something like, you don't answer to you don't answer to something that's not your name, or you are, that's what it is, you are what you answer to. And a lot of people say, if, okay, so for instance, when it was a big deal with, when it still is a big deal with some men who refer to women as the B word and as the H word, and they get really disrespectful in their speech towards women. But they will always say during that time, growing up, when I would hear it, you are what you answer to. So if somebody says, oh, hey, B, or whatever, and they calling you out your name, you only answer to it if that's your name, if you believe that about yourself. And you only get upset if you believe that about yourself. But if this being Black History Month, if a racist white person or a racist non-white, non-black person calls you a nigga, you don't get upset because you're not a nigga. Like, I've had the experience where I've laughed at someone who I was called a nigger. And the person who called me a nigga expected for me to go slap off and to just be like, I ain't no nigga, want to fight him and beat him up and get all violent. That's just what he expected. And the reason why I know that is because his face was like, he flinched a little bit, like he was getting ready. He was preparing himself to get punched in the face. And I just stared at him. I was just like, oh, I mean, because I know I'm not a nigga. Like, I don't respond to it because that's not who I am. And he even went as far as saying, you heard me? Say it again, nigga. Looking around like, who you talking to? Like, okay, like, you're not gonna get mad? You're not gonna get mad? I said nigga. I'm gonna get mad for it. I'm not a nigga. Like, I'm not gonna get mad. It's not my fault that you're ignorant. It's not my fault that you hate yourself. Great. And the same thing. So when these people make these remarks, and when they say these little things, that they try to be a bully and try to bully you back into self-hate and insecurity, by just being really a lot of times is not direct, because these people are also cowards. So they're never going to directly address you. But don't answer to it. They're going to try to like throw jabs, little small stuff at first, just to see if you respond. So if you're answering to it, they're looking for a response from you. And if you give into them and you give into those jabs, then they'll have more and more control over you. They'll be able to do even more stuff, even more direct things towards you, because they realize, okay, I got you. I'm in control of her emotions. If that white man who had called me a nigga got the response that he wanted, he would have been happy. He would have had a black eye, but he would have been so happy because he realized that he was in control with just a word. He was in control of my emotions. He was in control of, my physical reaction towards him. He was in control of my freedom at the moment. Because if I really just like went in on this man and beat him down and, started cussing him out and doing all of this stuff, I could have very well put my freedom at risk. I could have been arrested or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If I owned a gun, if I was like that type of person, if I owned a gun and I wanted to go off, get violent, shoot you, threaten your life and all of this stuff like that, I'm now putting my own freedom at risk. The freedom that my ancestors, fought tooth and nail for, gave their lives for. Now I'm giving my freedom up over this when I know I'm not a nigga. That's not who I am. I know who I am. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay, so unless you calling me the glory of God, unless you calling me, fearfully and wonderfully made and all of these wonderful things that God has called me, you not talking to me. So who you talking to, don't respond to those things. Don't respond to those things. You only respond to who you are. You respond to self-love. Respond to joy. Respond to peace. Respond to self-care. And lean into who you are as a person. Lean into it. Because as you are yourself, those little things you'll start to notice those things in other people. The insecurities will pop up. Never dull yourself for them. Never put your candlestick under a bushel. Never try to hide that city. It's on a hill. It's going to be seen anyway. No, don't put yourself through all that extra stress and all that extra struggle trying to be like, well, that fake humbleness that I was talking about yesterday, that fakeness, that fake trying to be, I just want to be quiet when you're really just not a quiet person. Like, I'm not a quiet person. There's no way I could be quiet because I'm just not a quiet person. That's not who I am. It's not who I am. Sure, I know how to whisper, and I know there's a time and place for everything. So obviously, if I'm in a movie theater, I'm not just about to be just, whatever. So obviously there's a time and place for everything, but in general, I speak loud, I sing loud, like my personality is loud. That I've accepted that about myself. And nobody now at this point, nobody can take that from me. You know, people could try to make me like, "Oh girl, you're so loud." Yeah, I am. I am. I so am. I agree with you. I am. What's the next topic of discussion? Because I'm not going to try to explain it to you. I'm just going to shine my light, and I'm going to give light to everyone that's in the house. And then the people who don't want the light, well, they're going to leave the house. Be yourself. Lean into that, because you have to realize that as a queen, only you can fit your crown. It is tailored and specifically to you. And those people who want your light, they will draw toward the light. And the people that don't want the light, they will go away. They will leave the house quick, fast, and in a hurry. And then the people who, you know, because there's people who feel like they don't want the light, or they think they don't want the light, because they feel like when they see the light, they relate it to, you know, negative experiences that they may have had. But it's some people who will literally be like, "Oh wait, I thought I didn't like the light, but the light is pretty cool. Let me see if I can deal with this light. Let me look a little bit. Let me be a little curious." It's like those, like the how the light bugs or whatever fly around the light. You know, they're curious. They trying to see, okay, how close can I get without it burning me? Or, you know, can I go into this flame? Like, what's going on with this light? I want to know. So then there's people who are curious and who are just observing and watching. Lean into it. Lean into that thing. That special thing that's just yours, that nobody can do just like you. Lean into it. And then those people who are for you, your light will shine on them. Okay? But don't let those bullies, those self-love bullies force you back into that dark place. Light your candle, put it on a candlestick. Shine. This is Charlie Sharice. I love you guys.